Patrick, Sarah, Meg, Timothy.
Think
Paul,
you have a full
Aaron,
house this
Leo,
holiday season?
Claire, Daniel, Rachel, Amy, Brian,
Meet the Jacksons,
Gemma.
the Jackson 20. Michael and Mary Jo already had 7 children of their own. Then they adopted 11 more.
Every dentist person in the car.
Richard Schlesinger reports.
How do you organize this house?
We could have given tips to Eisenhower on planning D-Day, you know.
But are 18 enough?
We can say no. We're just not ready to say no yet.
And deep in the heart of Texas, there's some awfully big hearts.
People are just amazed.
Dozens of families adopting more than 70 troubled kids.
He was so alone. He was so cold.
Reader's Digest and 48 Hours team up to tell this remarkable story.
I feel that I was blessed with the gift of doing it.
Plus, Sean and Whitney thought their kids spent too much time playing video games.
My oldest came home with a D- in math.
His quote was, "Hey, Mom, it's not like it's enough."
Just look at what their kids are playing now. How did they do it? Harold Dow on one family's dramatic measures.
I heard you play a mean Bach partita.
All in the family.
Dial 102, please.
Good evening. As we mark America's birthday this holiday weekend, a traditional time for celebration has taken on a very special meaning. There's a renewed appreciation of freedom and opportunity in a country that has recently lost so much. For many, this is a chance to get back to basics and spend more time with family. Tonight, we're going to show you how regular Americans are strengthening their family bonds and following in their own paths to renewal, even in the face of enormous challenges. We've teamed up with Reader's Digest to bring you stories that pay tribute to the American spirit and celebrate all that is still possible in this great country. We begin with Harold Dow and one family that was living the good life until they decided to trade it in for something better.
Hold up.
On a late fall afternoon,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
in the quiet backwoods of Maine, a mother and 4 children eagerly await the arrival of their dad from work. To be once more reunited by their love of music.
Let's hear it, guys. Ready?
Meet the Gray Cavey family. Dad, Sean, he's the teacher and conductor. That's their mom, Whitney. 13-year-old Zach. 15-year-old Nick. 11-year-old Brianna. And with tiny red ink-spotted hands, the youngest member of their group, 6-year-old Noah.
Do you read music?
No.
How do you play this?
We keep on going through this whole thing until finally it's so in my mind that I can go.
He's been playing since he was 4. This was the first piece he learned to play.
He always says, Dad, how old were you when you played this?
I played it when I was about 8 years old. But I firmly believe that the vast majority of kids out there have the same kind of core abilities in them that our kids, including Noah, have within them.
Sean should know, 4 years ago, none of these kids played music. Back then, they were living in a nice suburb outside Chicago, happily married with 4 children, 3 from Whitney's first marriage. They were well off, but anxious about their future.
We'd sit down to have dinner with them, and the conversation was just agonizing.
What was the conversation about?
TV,
Absolutely
video
nothing.
games. We'd hear ad nauseum each level of whatever video game was, you know, and we talked about taking that stuff out of their lives, but what do you replace it with?
So Sean and Whitney decided it was time for a radical change. They sold their house, left the video games behind,
Does anyone know where Brianna and Noah are?
and headed out to the woods of Maine.
Now, do you like living in the woods of Maine better than Chicago?
They bought a piece of land, moved into a trailer home. And they did one more thing. They replaced the video games with musical instruments, even managing to crowd a grand piano into their tiny living room, and began giving music lessons to their children.
Hard. That part's hard.
That was when they really started taking off as musicians. So the instruments have become that thing that answers boredom. You know, they go out and ride bikes for a while and play in the woods, build forts, swim, and then come in and play.
Music transformed their children's lives.
Yes, oh yeah.
But Sean and Whitney decided there was still one more change they had to make.
Somebody get me the teacher position biology, please.
My oldest came home with a D- in math, and he just couldn't understand why I was upset.
His quote was, "Hey, Mom, it's not like it's enough."
So they took their children out of public school.
Do the pretest, and Zachary, do not look at the words before you do the pretest.
And began homeschooling them.
He belongs in the mollusk family.
The biggest reason why I homeschool
An octopus.
is because I feel like we as a nation don't expect enough out of our kids.
So, Nick, before you started home study, what was your grade in math?
Oh, I think it was a D-, I think.
And then what's your grade now?
92, I believe. Something like that. 92 or 95, yeah.
Not only did they get better grades, but in 2 years, the children went from playing video games to playing Bach.
I heard you play a mean Bach partita in B flat. I don't believe it. Let me hear it.
It is exhilarating to watch your children exceed you. I got on the piano and I said, let me try it. And I started off and I realized that he had actually just played it a little bit better.
That's as far as Noah's dad has taught him. He'll probably have to wait a while to learn the rest.
See you later.
Since mid-September, his dad hasn't been around very much. He's been away working, right here in New York City at Ground Zero.
I got a call the Sunday after the attack that we needed to basically come on site and start assessing damage.
Sean is a computer specialist for an architectural firm helping to rebuild the World Trade Center site.
Does it also make you feel proud that you're working down here to help rebuild?
Not so much proud as I would have to say honored, just deeply, deeply honored.
Coping with missing your family. How do you deal with it?
Badly.
When you get back home with your family, what's the first thing you want to do?
Hug everybody.
Sean did manage to get home for Thanksgiving, to hug everyone, wrestle with Noah,
We love wrestling. This hurts. Hey, here's one.
cut down the family's Christmas tree, and to prepare for a family charity concert to raise money for the children of Afghanistan. For Sean and Whitney, this makes all the hard work and sacrifice worthwhile. For the last 2 years, the family has performed at benefit events around the world.
Last year, we raised money for an orphanage in Harare, Zimbabwe. And then we also raised money for a hospital in Jamaica.
This year, they played in Australia. including a performance with a full orchestra at the prestigious Sydney Opera House.
Why is music so important?
It's something that brings so much joy to so many people, and it's something that we can do together as a family. It's brought us together.
For Sean and Whitney, the family that plays together stays together. Music has brought them peace and happiness.
Next,
I seem to be talking and nobody's listening.
are you one of those people who just can't say no? Wait until you meet the Jackson family.
Got some animals in the dining room.
All 20 of them.
Can you name all of your kids?
What in the world were they thinking? Stay tuned.